when we were dealing with the BBIN project, right? So one thing I wanted to mention, somehow it couldn't be discussed yesterday. So one point you have to write in the BBIN thing when we were discussing. Okay, so नहीं भैया लिखने मत, यहाँ तक है. कितने आ रहे हैं आपको? 50 क्यों पहुंचाओ मैं? अच्छा, जब तक till the time this is being, see, just listen that BBIN involves 4 nations, है ना? Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal. But you know, Bhutan had certain apprehensions regarding the BBIN project, and that of course is a major challenge for the operationality of the connectivity aspect or motor vehicle aspect of BBIN project. See, BBIN is an overarching project, right? It is an overarching project for overall connectivity of this sub-regional area. One aspect is the motor vehicle agreement, right? One aspect is the motor vehicle agreement, and Bhutan has problem with this motor agreement aspect of BBIN. So what is the problem is that see, every country has to go for some amount of some kind of ratification, that is obvious. ये pen है क्या? So with Bhutan, what the problem is that the lower house has ratified it, right? But the problem is there with the upper house. So ratification is not totally being done. So the upper house is obviously having some very major issue, because of which Bhutan is not able to go for a final ratification as far as the motor vehicle agreement under BBIN project is concerned. Okay. Now, what are the apprehensions which Bhutan is having? There are two problems or two fear which Bhutan is having. The first is, you know, there is fear among the truckers, people who are into this business of commuting goods from one place to another. So the truckers in Bhutan are having a problem. They are having a fear of losing their livelihood. Right? Why? Because I said that this BBIN project, you know, it would involve seamless transport of not only private vehicles but also cargo and other kind of trade activities. So of course, the truckers there are having this fear that they might lose their livelihood because of the increased competition from the other 3 countries. Clear? So this is the first problem there in Bhutan. It has been raised, and the upper house has said that this problem we think is very genuine, so we are not going to ratify this agreement. Okay. The second objection which Bhutan is raising is regarding the environmental issue. So it is raising an environmental concern. See, this Himalayan nation is considered to be quite, aware about its own surroundings. So Bhutan, of course, is very aware, and therefore it is raising environmental concern also, that more and more vehicle will come up. This will augment the pollution level. So these are 2 reasons why the BBIN project could not be materialized, especially the motor vehicle agreement part could not be materialized as it was being envisaged. Right? In 2015, what they were thinking, they couldn't conceptualize it to the core. Okay. However, India has said that whenever Bhutan wants to come, we are welcoming. They can obviously come and join us. So till the time they are not getting ratification, of course, with the motor vehicle agreement, they have opted out. Still, we are using the term BBIN because BBIN is an overarching idea. Motor vehicle agreement is one aspect of it, right? So suppose in exam, the question comes up that what could be the key challenges? The question comes like this only, right? So if the question comes up, you can go with this, that there is a problem as far as Bhutan is concerned. That is why the entire idea could not be conceptualized in the way it was considered or it was thought to be. Okay? Achha. So we were dealing with last time this thing, right? So this was the protocol on land, water, transit and trade. And I said this protocol, in this protocol, few additions are being made, and therefore it is being said that a second addendum to the protocol has been made. However, as you can see, this protocol was first signed in year 1972, right? And 2015 it was revived for another 5 years, and it was said it would be automatically renewed later on also. 50-50% cargo sharing is being made between India and Bangladesh. What new elements have been added? That would be an important part for your exam, right? Because you can always augment your answer by giving these kinds of facts, that how in connectivity, in sphere of connectivity, how India and Bangladesh are moving forward, right? So what the thing is that new Indo-Bangladesh protocol routes have been increased. Earlier there were just 8 routes. Now there are 10 routes. So 2 new routes have been made, right? And of course you have to remember these things. Sonamura Dokhandi sketch of Gomti River, and another is Rajshahi Dhulyan Rajshahi route. So these 2 new routes have been included, and therefore it is being said that this is a second addition to this protocol, right? When we will be pardon, this is between India and Bangladesh at the border, of course. हाँ जी, मैं अभी बता रही हूँ, लिखो. Where you have written Sonamura Dokhandi Express sketch, you can say it would enable better connectivity between Tripura and other adjoining states with Bangladesh. So location now you got Tripura. Okay? So a better connectivity would now be made between the state of Tripura and of course adjoining states with Bangladesh. That is the benefit of this Sonamura Dokhandi stretch. The second is Rajshahi Dhulyan Rajshahi route. Now there are 2 key advantages of this route. Number 1, it would augment, लिख लो, increase लिख लो, develop लिख लो, anything, infrastructure in Bangladesh. It would help in augmenting infrastructure in Bangladesh. This would be the first benefit. The second important benefit is, as I said yesterday, that if all the transit is being done through one particular custom station, of course that would lead to congestion. And when there will be congestion, this means that possibilities of irregularities will increase. So when you are, enabling wider and newer stretches or routes between India and Bangladesh, this means that this would decongest custom stations, decongest custom stations on both the side. Land custom stations कह लो. This would, हाँ जी, Dokhandi sketch. Rajashahi, Dhulian, Rajshahi, not exactly Tripura, but somewhere in northeast only, but more towards Bangladesh, of course, right? See, this would decongest custom stations. You can write land custom stations. Now you see, the underlying idea of decongesting the land custom station is seamless trade, right? And when this kind of things will happen, when there would be hassle-free trade, only then traders from either of the countries would willingly come and trade. Therefore, this kind of things are very necessary. Okay, next. Right, declaration of new port of calls. Now, ports of call, since it has been recent in news, this could also be very important for your pre. So, first of all, write what is port of call. Likhe. A port of call is an intermediate port. It is an intermediate port. And what is the purpose? It is an intermediate port where ships customarily stops, for supplies, repairs, or transshipment of cargoes, where ships can come, stop for supplies, for repairs, and for transshipment of cargoes. So it is an intermediate port. It is not the port in true sense. It is just an intermediate port where ships can come up for their supplies, for their maintenance, for their repair, for their transshipment, right? So, you know, 5 new port of calls have been declared or added in this protocol. 6 were already in operational, right? Okay. There are 2 more extended port of calls. See, 6 port of calls, I can tell you, if you can remember, it is fine, but times it becomes a bit more difficult to remember. I will definitely suggest 1 or 2 ports for you to remember, which would be very essential as far as the connectivity aspect is concerned. So there I will come. First of all, write this only. There are 6 port of calls, each in India, like Kolkata, Haldia, Pandu, Kamirganj. You don't have to remember, there's a long list, right? 5 new port of calls have been made. 5 new port of calls. Right? Jogi Gobha. This port is very important. This is an Indian side. Jogigopha. Jogi Gobha. This is an Indian side. This is one port of call, new port of call. And this is very important. That's why I'm mentioning it, right? Another very important port of call is Bahadurabad towards Bangladesh. This is in Bangladesh side. Bahadurabad, right? Now these 2 ports are worth remembering. So write inclusion of Jogi Gobha in Indian side, inclusion of Jogi Gobha in Indian side, and Bahadurabad in Bangladesh will provide connectivity to Meghalaya, Assam, and Bhutan. So these two ports will provide a better connectivity between Meghalaya, Indian state of Meghalaya, Assam and Bhutan as well. That is why these two ports you have to remember. Don't remember anything else. But those two earliest stretches, of course, you have to remember, right? So I'm just telling those areas and those important things which are very important when you will be writing your answer, and you should also go with these minute facts, and that would always enhance your answer. See, as an examiner, if you are putting your effort and writing your answer, this is my long experience of teaching as well as, being examiner and everything. So how much effort you put, if the examiner sees that in the answer sheet, right, examiner is then bound to give you marks. So therefore, more and more facts, of course, would always add on to your answer. Analysis is also very important, but facts are also very important. Both have to go side by side. So if you're writing a fact, you can always say that analysis is that it will help in connection of these parts with this part of the country. Right? So that would help you to substantiate your answer that yes, in connectivity, huge amount of work has been done between India and Bangladesh. Right? So like this, you have to proceed with your answer writing. And then two extended port of call, no need to remember the names. Next, write advantages. Now coming to the analysis part. What would be the advantages of this protocol? Number one, see, right? It will facilitate the trade between two countries. Facilitate trade between two countries. Right? That was a fundamental reason also why Indo-Bangladesh went into this kind of agreements, because we wanted to facilitate our trade. You know, once trade is facilitated and once through an institutional way, through a proper agreement, hassle-free trade like land custom stations are decongested, you are getting better routes to go and trade, you can go for inland waterways as well as through roads, so better connectivity. This means more and more people participation, more and more people to people contact, that would improve the reliability between the two nations. So things are very commonsensical, you know, times you doesn't have to remember also. Just understand the sequence. If this will happen, then what will happen? If there are better trade, more and more people will go, they will interact, that would improve the reliability. That would reduce the trust deficit. Trust deficit will reduce. It will improve reliability. Another very commonsensical point, cost effective. How? I said hassle-free trade is there. Decongestion, there's no decongestion, right? So you don't have to put an extra effort going through the custom office and then going forward. There might be certain places where it's not necessary even to go through these routes, right? Like we can go for border huts if you are talking about. So there is nothing, 5-kilometer radius is there, you can come and trade. So when these things happen, right? So the input cost gets reduced. So now when your input cost gets reduced for the trading, this means your profit margin will increase. This means your trade is now cost effective, right? So another very important advantage is it is cost effective. Third, this already I have mentioned. That is why I said you have to anyway remember this. Sonamura Dokhandi sketch of Gomti River will improve connectivity of Tripura and adjoining state with India and Bangladesh. Okay? So you can copy that point and write it here as well. Another advantage is, this also we have discussed, Rajshahi Dhulian Rajshahi route, it will augment infrastructure in Bangladesh. As I said, see, private companies always wants to invest in the places which are hassle-free, places where they know that profit margin would be more. Profit margin would be only more when there will be better trade, right? So automatically, if there is going to be a trade hub, infrastructure would develop, right? Infrastructure would include everything. A trader is coming, he wants to stay, so there will be hotels then, right? So right from the beginning, suppose he is coming in the station, so in the station you can have the police also, right? The station you can have the eatery shops also. So small things keep on adding up, right? So economically, that entire area gets developed, right? So this would augment infrastructure. And as I said, Jogi Gobha in Indian side and Bahadurabad in Bangladesh will provide better connectivity to Meghalaya, Assam and Bhutan. And last point is also very commonsensical. It will enhance local economy both in Bangladesh as well as Northeast India. Likh lo if you are not able to see. Last point is enhancing the local economy, enhancing the local economy in Bangladesh and in Northeast India. Northeast India. So this is also very important, and therefore I said it will lead to the grid development of this entire region. When local economy gets improved, of course, that would help in increasing their income level. If the income level increase, this means the purchasing power increase. If purchasing power increase, this means you will demand for more products. If there is demand for more products, this means they've had to be supply for more products. This means more and more infrastructure would be there. More and more companies would be there. You know, so this is the entire cycle which goes on then. Clear? Okay, next point. Now next, the third important element in connectivity is BCIM project. Done? Okay. Now comes the BCIM project. That is also very important. BBIN is also important. BCIM is also important. BCIM is even more important. Why? China is involved. BCIM is even more important. Why? Because India has said we are not going to participate now in the BRF meet. Right? Belt and Road Initiative Forum, we are not going to participate. Right? Just an idea I am saying. Abhi likhayenge bhi. So what happened that this Belt and Road Initiative, we all know, this is the dream project of China, right? And this was to revive the ancient Silk Route, right? Ahead also we have the map also, you can see. So now the thing is that this is the diplomacy of China, that it wants to encircle India not only through the waterways in this Bay of Bengal and IOR region through string of pearl diplomacy, but also in the northern, the northern part also of Asia. And this is through Silk and Road Initiative. So what is this initiative is that it would involve many countries around the world, and therefore they have made a forum. That forum is just a meeting forum, right? You come and meet, we will have discussion. Now there are many projects under this One Belt One Road initiative of China. That one of the project is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And this China-Pakistan Economic Corridor passes through POK. Of course, India is going to have an objection that why this is passing through POK. Because of course, we don't want either of the two countries to intervene in that area. More so, if a solid highway is being built in that area, you imagine they can even go for cutting off those supply chain. Right? That would be a serious danger for our people staying in Siachen area as well, or the other areas in that part, right? So India has a strong, a very strong take that this corridor should not pass through POK. So India said that, okay, fine, now we are not participating further in this forum. So when India was not participating in this forum, BCIM was also part of it only. BCIM was made out, it was being evicted out of this Belt and Road initiative. And this is the reason this BCIM project came into news, right? So this was the context in which we have to, so why was it in news, right? India's decision to skip. India's decision to skip Belt and Road Forum, right? It may lead to the exclusion of BCIM from the list of projects covered under Belt and Road Initiative umbrella project of China, right? And the reason also you should write. Take your time. So the reason is that China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, yeah, right, aram se likho. Pakistan Economic Corridor is passing through POK. So you can say that India is raising a sovereignty concern. India is raising a sovereignty concern. What is this forum? It is a political, economic forum meant for Belt and Road Initiative. In fact, it is an international forum. International Political and Economic Forum, which was meant for Belt and Road Initiative. So India said, we are not going to be part of it. They said, okay, fine, BCIM is going to be out of it. And a very genuine concern, a sovereignty concern, India raised at that time. Done? Now this is very important. Just have a look. This is One Road, One Belt initiative, right? The road is the maritime aspect. Belt is the economic aspect, that would be through land. So you can see this. This is the belt aspect, and this is the maritime road that China is going to build, right? So it's going to make a strong linkage from Asia even to that part of Europe. And that is a way to revive the ancient Silk Route, which China at that time was enjoying, right? So this is just, but this is just on papers that it has been said that China has this novel idea of making a better connectivity between Asian countries and the European countries, but somewhere down the line, this is a very strong foreign policy, stand or initiative in order to establish Chinese hegemony, right? In order to establish Chinese hegemony in the entire region through connectivity and trade, right? So this is a very fantastic signature foreign policy of China which has come up. Now, apart from many projects, we are dealing or we are concerned just with 3 projects. Hanji. See, see, very nice question. The thing was, you need to understand that the time when that project, Marshall Project by US was being launched, it was the time when, exactly the world was not to that extent globalized. Public opinion, global public opinion were not that, given importance, right? They were not that global pressure which is there today. There US can forefrontly go for something like this, right? And the reasons were also obvious and everyone knew that this was the reason. But here, that's what I said. The reason is that we want to go for a better connectivity. The reason is we want to have a better trade. The reason is we want to have a better people-to-people contact, unhindered, unobstructed trade, contact, connectivity. But this is just, a kind of veil has been put. The underlying essence, of course, is the same which US had at that time. The only difference is that now no country can explicitly say that yes, we are going forward with this policy because we want to have our hegemony. Because no one is going to accept it. No one is going to buy this argument. No one will be with you. Right? You're getting my point. So things are very different. What they happened then and what is happening today. There we had the 2 World War, right? The Second World War, the First World War, Serbia got attacked and Second World War started. Today we have this Ukrainian crisis. After 5 days of attack, we are into some kind of deliberation and of course, positively hai. So of course, we can go forward with some kind of dialogue. Why? Because today's world is different from the world at that time. Today, you can't go forefront with your agenda and open it in front of everyone. Yes, this is my agenda and I want to maintain my hegemony. You can't go for that. Because there is this interconnectivity, there is this interpenetration, there is this global pressure. No country is isolated. Everyone is interdependent, right? So things are different because circumstances are different. Inherent idea, of course, is the same, right? Okay. So now there are, out of many projects, only 3 projects are of major concern for us, for India. One is China-Myanmar Economic Corridor. When we'll be discussing Indo-Myanmar relation, we'll again go into this. Just look at this corridor, Indo-Myanmar Economic Corridor. Of course, China would be very near to India at that place also, and it would have a very strong imprint in Myanmar. And Myanmar is very important for us. Why? Because of this major thing is security issue. You remember Assam Rifle, 26 Assam Rifle, the commander and his family, entire family also got killed. And then it was being said that the insurgents who were there, they had their bases in Myanmar. So Myanmar for security issue is very important for India. So Chinese presence, major Chinese presence through this China-Myanmar economic corridor is going to be a very difficult thing for India. Second is Nepal-China Trans-Himalayan Multidimensional Connectivity Network, right? So China is now involving its footprint in Nepal as well. Keeping into mind that India and Nepal had a tip-off, right? So now this is the problem that, see, India has a major foreign policy problem of how to accommodate all its neighbors, how to accommodate our interest, and also not let go these neighbors into the embrace or lap of China. So India now is into a very, strategic position. Right? Again, there is China-Pakistan economic corridor that we have just mentioned. So there are three major projects. You can write that One Belt, just for your information, for your pre-purpose, that there are these major projects under One Belt, One Road initiative. And these three projects are of very importance for India, strategically. Nepal, China, trans-Himalayan, right? Multi-dimensional connectivity network. Clear? See, in IR, the thing is that maps have to be very much in your mind. And this knowledge of map will always add on to your knowledge during prelims as well, right? So an idea, of course, you have to be there, right? That is the reason I try to involve as many pictographic representation as I can, because that helps a lot during pre. And that is the reason we always say that the preparation for main should always be ahead that of pre, right? Because once you are done with this mains preparation, half of the things would be clear in your mind. Okay. Next. Now write BCI. Now this BCIM economic corridor aims to connect Kolkata with Kunming, capital of Yunnan province in China. So this is the long way which this BCIM project from Kolkata to Sylhet, Bangladesh, then to Mandalay, and then to China, right? So this is the route of BCIM project. So now what exactly is this BCIM project? It is an economic belt. This is going to be an economic belt. It would primarily focus on three things: cross-border transport, energy exchange, and the third very important aspect of this corridor is telecommunication networks. So primarily this is a thriving economic belt concentrating on three fundamental things. One, of course, would be transport, then would be, involvement of new energies, right? New energy initiatives. So energy exchange would of course be there, because India of course is going through, every country is going through this crisis of energy security. So of course energy has to be a very fundamental part of this region. And then of course would be telecommunication network. So better telecommunication network. So these are three primary agendas of this BCIM corridor. Clear? आगे बढ़ो. right? Importance. Importance of BCIM. Now, importance we will understand the importance both from perspective of India also and from Bangladesh also, because we are dealing with Indo-Bangladesh relations, so we are not going into Myanmar and China, right? So from the perspective of India, what would be the importance, and from the perspective of Bangladesh, what would be importance, right? Importance to India. First of all, write a general, advantages or importance. Generally write importance of BCIM. Number one, cross-border transport of goods. It would facilitate, of course, cross-border transport of goods. Cross-border transport of goods. Number two, facilitate movement of people. It would enable cross-border movement of goods, transport of goods, movement of people. Third, reduce trade bottlenecks. Reduce trade bottlenecks. Bottlenecks means obstructions, problems, right? Restrictions, barriers. You can go for barriers as well. So trade barriers, trade bottlenecks would be removed. Okay. Now, once these trade bottlenecks or barriers are removed, this would reduce the transaction cost. This would reduce the transaction cost. That is, trade will become cost effective, as I said. So people will say that it is good to trade through this corridor. It is so cost effective, right? Now, when bottlenecks are removed, trade is becoming cost effective. This means that volume of trade would also increase, right? So, right, access and volume of trade would increase. Right? Better accessibility is there. Why? Because there is better connectivity. So you can go through that highway and go for trade. So when there is better accessibility, this means volume of trade would increase. And the rest is all you can write. It will lead to the improvement of the overall income of the people, right? The purchasing power will increase, infrastructure in and around will increase, overall well-being of the people would be there. All these things you can always add on. Okay. One more importance, as I said, was that energy and telecommunication infrastructure would also increase. So there would be an increase in energy and telecommunication infrastructure or networks, whatever. Networks or infrastructure. There is another very important angle to this kind of economic corridors, right? Yes, when more and more people are coming together, thank you, Bhaiya, this will also increase the tourism sector. So it will give a boost to the tourism sector. So tourism would also increase. Right? So someone from Myanmar comes to India for trade. and they found northeast states to be very beautiful, right? So they can go back to their state and say that northeast is very pretty in India. Let's go for a holiday. So the word will go on, right? And in this way, the tourism sector will get a boost. Now again the chain comes, right? You have to keep all these things in mind whenever you are writing. When tourism will increase, what will happen? Right from the basic, right? The moment you comes out of the station, you call a porter, right? So he will get an employment. There would be small eatery shops. Then you will go to the place to visit. You will hire a guide. He will get an employment. You will go for places to stay. So, you know, small areas or residential accommodation facilities would be there. That would increase. You will go from one place to another through auto or whatever. Transport facilities will increase, right? So, overall development also happen in that local area if tourism gets boosted. So, another advantage of this BCIM project is it will boost tourism, the tourism sector, right? And tourism is one sector which was very hard hit during this COVID pandemic. So again, when now things are getting back to normalcy, we suppose anything again will not happen. So if this continues, then tourism sector would definitely go for a boost, and this BCIM project is going to be a boon, right? Last thing add, right? Poverty elevation. This would help in alleviation of poverty. Poverty alleviation. Alleviation means removal, reduction. So when there will be an increase in income, hassle-free trade, more and more people are getting employment, of course there would be elevation of poverty. And of course this is one area which has this problem of poverty, less development, this entire area, right? So these are certain advantages, you can call it advantages. If the question comes, what is the importance? You can add this in importance also. If it comes out for advantages, you can call it as advantages also, right? Whenever a question comes up, always remember, even if it is for a small word limit, you have to end up your answer writing, of course, a few analytical, or expert views for that. So whenever things like BCIM comes up, so you can of course say there is a problem from Indian side as far as this the Belt and Road Initiative, and because of that it has opted out. Just in one line you can always mention it. So these could something. Like if something on BBIN comes up, you can always put apprehensions of Bhutan, right? So these ways you can always, that is the reason I am trying to give you a holistic picture that whatever questions comes up, that would be there in your mind. Okay. Now write importance for India. Especially what is the importance for India as far as this BCIM project is concerned. Haji, you have some doubt? You can add it, people to people. Tourism means people to people connect only. Trade means people to people contact. Right? Importance to India. So in respect to India, what would be importance? The first would be, if you look into this map, again go back to the next slide, in previous slide. See, this is from Kolkata. This is joining Kolkata, right? So the first advantage for India would be what? It would help in development of Kolkata port. First point, likho. India will be benefited in terms of development of Kolkata port. Kolkata port, right? Now you see, this is the area which is very near to northeast. Of course, all these initiatives, I said Bangladesh is one of the most important actor for our Act East policy. And why it is an important actor for Act East policy, not only because it has a proximity toward East Asian countries, but also because now Northeast states are also added within the broader ambit of Act East policy. Northeast states have a very close proximity with Bangladesh. So anything development aspect or good aspect happens with Bangladesh, that would be translated into our Northeast states also, right? So that would get reflected. Therefore, we can say that any project which is dealing with Bangladesh, it's going to have an impact with Northeast states. So the second importance you can write, it could lead to, lead to opening up, the economic potential Northeast India, of Northeast India. No, there are 4 countries involved. Okay. Now, third point also is very important. You know, the mainstay of Indian economy is considered to be agriculture. And we all know that Northeast is one area where, of course, agriculture is also very prominent, right? So, you know, all these sectors, the primary sectors, they comes under the downstream industries, right? Downstream means river ka, there ripenine states hote hain, there is an upstream, there is a downstream. So, downstream means when the river is coming down. So, when the river is coming down, this means the flow is less, catchment area increases, that area becomes more fertile. Getting my point? So, when that area gets fertile, then that would augment to downstream industries to flourish. All the primary sector industries to flourish. Now, you see, India is somewhere in the downstream area as far as this BCIM project is concerned. Right? So, third point, it can also use, it matlab India. India can also use the economic corridor for negotiating downstream industries to be located within India. So, India could now be at the negotiating table for more and more downstream industries to be located in its place because of its situation and because of, you know, the route wherein it falls as far as this BCIM project is concerned. Right? Next point. Next is very obvious. It is pivotal for our Act East policy. This project is very pivotal, very important. Important, likh lo. This project is very important for, Hanji. Downstream, see, when the river comes up, this is upstream, and when the rivers go, this is the downstream, right? So, when the river comes down, then it has a greater area, right? The flow is less. So, you know, the catchment area increases. So, all the primary sector then can increase. Now, as far as this economic corridor is concerned, India somehow is in a situation, you know, China is here. The area is, see, when we had the Indo-China war, that was the problem India was facing. China was here, India was here, right? So, that is the problem. So, we are somewhere in the downstream area, okay? So, that is the thing. Now, this problem, this was a problem at that time, that they could see our forces, we can't see their forces. A person on the top can see down who is there. That was a major problem with India. Indo-China relations ka jo war pada hoga, you must have seen that was a problem we were facing. They could see us, we can't see them. They could target, we can't target them. So that is the problem. But now this problem we can take into our advantage, that we can make this a very fantastic place for downstream industries to come up, flourish, and we can negotiate, right? So all the primary sectors you can come up, and more so that is a northeastern state, right? There is good availability of monsoon as well, right? So that could also be an added advantage. So India could have an added advantage in this regard. Clear? Next point.
It also reduces trust deficit between India and China, as it is creating win-win situation for India and China.
See, trust deficit India can't remove with two countries, with Pakistan and with China. We can't trust them. History has taught us, don't trust them. And foreign policy, as I said, is based upon our national interest and it is based upon our past precedent. And history is not very good with them. So you can't say that we are going to have a perfect trust environment with them. No. We can go for confidence building measures, right? That's all on papers actually. Work in progress. That keeps on going. But somehow we can't trust them. Okay, next. Important means this corridor is important for India's Act East policy. That is for very obvious reason. I believe everyone knows this, right? Better connectivity with Northeast. Northeast is an important part of Act East, therefore important for Act East policy. One last point, right? BCIM offers India. BCIM offers India an opportunity. BCIM offers India an opportunity to have, to create, right, to create its own win-win, relation with whom? Very nice, with China. We are going to have a win-win relation vis-a-vis China. This kind of question can of course come. Do you think as far as BCIM project is concerned, India is going to have a win-win situation or win-win condition with China? So you can say yes, of course. We have a lot to gain and less to lose, right? We have a lot to gain from this project. And if such kind of question comes up, you have a list of advantages and importance. You can write it. Of course, there is a security issue because China is involved. Of course, there is could be a diplomatic hurdle because China is involved. But then rest of the two countries, that is Bangladesh and Myanmar, they are key to India's diplomacy and of course, India is in good books with them. Reason because as I said, with Bangladesh, we are enjoying an organic relationship right from the beginning. With Myanmar also, right? Myanmar recently, Indian, Foreign Secretary also went there. So when Mr. Shringla went there, it was like, we'll discuss this thing. Indo-Myanmar is going to be very interesting because how India is going to adopt a twin track approach. So now India has made a spin in its diplomacy. India is known to be the largest democracy. Of course, it is the largest democracy, known to be a country who has always strived for democracy. But now what foreign policy stance India has taken vis-a-vis Myanmar is that of course we are going for a negotiating terms with the military junta in Myanmar. And when we went there, the foreign secretary went there, there was a big question mark. Is India legitimizing this coup? And therein came an answer from Indian side, and that we will understand in Indo-Myanmar relation. So with Myanmar also, we are at a very tight rope, right? You have seen that nuts also. The people who generally walk on the rope, so they have to be very cautious. They can fall. Similar is the diplomatic relation as far as India is concerned, especially with Myanmar. Because the moment we miss one chance of getting close to Myanmar, China will come and get more closer to them, and that we can't afford due to our proper security reasons. So India's situation in this BCIM is going to be win-win vis-a-vis China because we have a lot to gain. Yeah, there are problems, there are going to be problems, and that's obvious for any project. Any project which would involve major countries, 2-3 countries, that too country like China, hurdles are of course going to be there. There has to be diplomatic hurdle. You never know, sometime in future something might happen. There are some problem with Indo-China and this project might also come within that problem. You never know. So these things are very obvious for any projects which involve multiple countries. But keeping that thing apart, this project has a lot to offer to India, right? Therefore, we can of course say this is going to be a win-win situation for India. Okay. Now write one more thing. Important for Bangladesh. Next, इसमें लिखो Bangladesh. I have written also. This is importance to Bangladesh. How this project is important to Bangladesh. We have written a lot about India. Let's write few lines about Bangladesh also. See, Bangladesh also is involved in this because it is getting something. What is the key advantages which Bangladesh is getting? See, you know, Bangladesh could become the major energy exporting countries if it get involved into this. Let's try to substantiate this line with few facts. लिख ले पहले. Bangladesh is home to almost 200 trillion tons of natural reserves. And statistics says this is largest in Asia Pacific. $200 trillion cubic tons of natural reserve Bangladesh has the potentiality. Natural gas. Forgot. Natural gas reserves. And statistics points out that this comes out to be the largest in Asia Pacific. So imagine if this BCIM project gets advanced and if things becomes more proper within it, so imagine Bangladesh could become a major energy exporting countries, right? Major energy exporting country in this region. And energy sector is one sector which is going to gain a lot in future, right? So therefore, this could be an added advantage to Bangladesh as well. This is precisely for Bangladesh, I am telling. Apart from this, the normal importance or advantages which I said, no, that is common for all the countries. Better trade, telecommunication, right? All these things are, common for all the countries who are involved. Now, the very fact we are dealing with Indo-Bangladesh, therefore, I am restricting my discussion only with India and Bangladesh. So, there are certain advantages, peculiar advantages for India, and there is this peculiar advantage to Bangladesh. It could become a major energy exporting power, right? Now, coming to the most important aspect of this project, that is the concerns, challenges. Question can come on it. Challenges are here only. Number one challenge, right? China cannot be trusted. China cannot be trusted. One of the fundamental concerns. Why? We are having problem with China apart from many issues. As far as the land boundary thing is concerned, at two places we are having problem with China. At Arunachal Pradesh, at Ladakh. So both at the eastern side as well as the western side, China has been a headache for India, right? So because we have divergent views at both the sides of Indian border, and that of course have not been solved. Therefore, of course, any economic corridor like this could definitely, face a challenge of this kind of distrust with China. So number one challenge is that China cannot be trusted. Number two, security issue. इसके अंदर number one, first bullet point or sub point, ethnic insurgencies. Ethnic insurgencies. This area involves the northeastern part of India. Northeastern part of India has a close proximity with both Bangladesh and Myanmar. Both Bangladesh and Myanmar are supposed to be having the sanctuaries of various anti-Indian insurgency organizations. Bangladesh under Sheikh Hasina's regime has quite a lot improved in this regard, as I said. Reason also now you know, greater affinity towards India, greater information sharing, that also we said, right? But with Myanmar, it is a problem. Especially when in Myanmar now, even the democratic regime is not there. And history has shown that whenever this kind of military rule has come up in Myanmar, anti-Indian insurgency factors have increased. So this is going to be a major concern for security, right? So this would be our second point, second bullet point. Sorry, first. Second would be terrorism. So ethnic insurgency is something different, terrorism is something different, but both results to large-scale violence and destruction of both men and material. So of course, this is going to be a serious challenge for all the countries involved. Not even ones, but all the countries involved. So terrorism, because it's a global phenomenon, right? Third bullet point, right? Human trafficking. Human trafficking. Bangladesh especially is very much involved in human trafficking. It is being said. So human trafficking is going to be another very important problem, challenge. Because more the connectivity, more the propensity of having these kind of things. You have a better connectivity, so people who are involved in human trafficking can also use the same. See, that is why we say, technology, advancement are all difference blind. The same technology could be used by us, like what we were having during COVID pandemic, distance education, through Zoom meetings, we were meeting. The same technology is even used by non-state actors like terrorists. Because technology is difference blind. It will not switch off. Zoom doesn't know who is using it. Similar is the case with connectivity. Roads will not stop if some antisocial elements are trying to use it. So drug trafficking might also increase, right? Sorry, human trafficking. Human trafficking. So next is drug trafficking. Now drug trafficking, so I told you that this is an area within that golden triangle. Remember, Thailand, Laos and Myanmar. That is a very critical area through which this corridor is passing. So imagine a perfect place, a heaven place for the drug traffickers also. Good connectivity, they can also use it, right? So drug trafficking can also increase. Arms trade, illegal arms, all these things as well. Smuggling, next is smuggling. Smuggling could be of anything like arms smuggling, animal smuggling, right? Smuggling. Another very important thing, if there is more human trafficking, if there is more illegal migration, this means that communicable disease might also increase, especially HIV infection, right? That is also a serious, grave concern. So, HIV or other communicable diseases. Yes. Why? Why this comes under security? See, now the nuance of security, the idea of security has enlarged. It's not only about the border management, it also involves an aspect of human security. So security should never, now when you are studying for civils, you should broaden up your mind. When things like security comes up, it's not always about border, it's not always about cross-border trade or illegal trade, it's even involving human security. Human security involves everything. It involves environment, it involves how the development politics also comes up, it even involves health, it even involves education. Human security is another sub criteria of the broader aspect of security. So in your answer, try to be multifaceted. You have to look into diverse aspect. So security, if I talk only about security, that how this better connectivity could be used for this terrorist, for these anti-insurgent elements, and if I don't go into the human security aspect, my answer would not be complete. So I have to go into the human security aspect, right? So communicable diseases, HIV might also increase. And right, in the end, right, all this could threaten, all this could threaten to derail the project. Derail the project. So the project could even be derailed, D-E-R-A-I-L. All this could even derail the project. Now our answer would not be complete if you are not futuristic in your answer. Even 1 or 2 bullet point will suffice. But you have to be, your answer must involve something like way forward, your own views, how you can improve. Your answer won't be complete. Let's write way forward then. Number 1, upgradation of infrastructure. Infrastructure. Since we are dealing with India, the Indian point of view, we will be discussing the way forward for Indian perspective. So what India should do is that immediate priority is to upgrade the infrastructure, right? The immediate priority is to upgrade infrastructure. This would include roads, railway, waterway, air connectivity, all the 4 ways, railway, waterway, road and air connectivity within northeast states. Yeah. Way forward means some kind of suggestions which we can always put up. Yeah. Way forward, yeah. See, things forward, something is always optimism. It is optimism only which will push you forward. So anything which is forward looking, it has to be optimistic. A pessimistic thing will make you move, some steps backward. So anything which is forward has to be optimistic in nature. So the first important thing which India could do is to upgrade the infrastructure. Since this entire project would lose its significance if we doesn't have a better connectivity within the northeast states. What we will do of this kind of projects from Kolkata port if we doesn't have a better connectivity of northeast states to the Kolkata port? Right? That project is starting from Kolkata port, right? But from Kolkata port to the northeast state, you have to enable a better connectivity. Then only the entire purpose will be solved of the overall grid development of that area, especially the northeast India. You're getting my point? So the first important thing which India has to do is, it has to improve infrastructure in all these 4 ways, right? As far as the northeast states are concerned. So let them first of all connect with our Kolkata port, no? Then only we can move forward. So this will be the first way forward. Second, right? Work on India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral project. This could be another suggestion. India needs to work more on, make it highway project. So, you know, we need to work more on India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral highway because, pardon? Okay. Now, what is the reason we should improve this highway? Right? So that a better connectivity can be made between isolated northeast India, a better connectivity is made or developed between isolated northeast India and expanding economies of Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia. So India should not only rely on one project like BCIM or another project like BBIN. You have to diversify your basket. So what we can do, we can even develop India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral highway project. Once this project is being developed or we concentrate more upon it, this project deals with the highway. This means automatically the northeast states, the highway connection will be better. Once the highway connectivity is better, our first thing would be solve upgradation of infrastructure. Right? So India has to find out that where it can go for this kind of better infrastructure upgradation as far as northeast is concerned. So we can search for those projects which are operating at that geographical area, and then we can say that we can go and develop these projects as well, and that would give an added advantage for the BCIM project as well. Right? Third point. Kaladan project. Kaladan multimodal transport project. Must have heard about it. Doesn't matter. When we will be discussing Indo-Myanmar, we'll come across this, right? So this is Kaladan multimodal transport project. Kaladan multimodal. Multimodal means many modes are involved. Multimodal transport, both transit as well as transport project. Now this project involves Myanmar. Myanmar is neighboring our northeast states. So right, it will help connect. It will help connect northeast with, Myanmar as well as, now this is very important, as well as West Bengal. You're getting the point? The Kolkata port. That is our purpose. This project starts from Kolkata port. Our purpose is to have a greater accessibility of northeast states to the Kolkata port. So any projects which are operating and which are serving this purpose, in order to strengthen BCIM project, we have to strengthen first these projects. Right? Then only we can go forward with BCIM project. So these are certain other projects also India has to keep into mind. right? Next, priority to BBIN project. Another way forward could be priority to BBIN project. That is also very obvious. That would involve Bangladesh. Automatically, this BBIN project would involve better connectivity between India and Bangladesh. BCIM also involves India and Bangladesh. For BBIN, if a question comes on BBIN, way forward you can write better infrastructure and augmentation, or better delivery, or better conceptualization of BCIM project. You can use this in either ways. So when BBIN project could be given a thrust when BCIM project is being given a thrust. BCIM project can be given a thrust when BBIN project is given a thrust, because both involves these two countries. You're getting my point? Like, no? See, both the project involves India and China, Bangladesh. For improving, or enabling BBIN project to go into progress. In conclusion, you can always say that some amount of effort needs to be made for conceptualization of BCIM project. You're getting my point? BCIM project. Reason because BCIM would involve better connection between India and Bangladesh. BBIN also involves India and Bangladesh, right? Similarly, when BCIM thing comes up, you can say that BBIN project should be improved, right? So this is, I am saying that now forward, when you have this holistic picture of one project could always help in augmentation of other project, then in your answer also you can always write, right, that this project could definitely help in development of that project. So if you want that project to be developed, you can go for development of that project as well. Getting my point? Clear? Next, right? Fine. See, this was a major problem with Bhutan, as I said, as far as BBIN thing is concerned, and it withdrew. And actually, this is a problem with the entire developmental politics which happen. At one side, we have development. We have to go for it. At other side, there is this environmental concern. That is also growing very important. Without development, the overall growth of that particular area can't happen. If you don't have a better connectivity, right, none of the social sectors could flourish. Education sector can't flourish, house sector can't flourish, health sector can't flourish, social security sector can't flourish. See, if you doesn't have a good road connectivity, doctors will not like to go and stay in that place. If you don't have good education system, they would not like to stay with their family in that place. That is a problem. That is why in the rural areas, the health sector is declining, because we doesn't have a better infrastructure to cater. So people doesn't want to go and serve there. You're getting my point? So we have this dilemma actually. This 21st century world is having this dilemma of going forward with development and also with environment. And herein comes the word sustainable development, right? And herein comes the concept of sustainable development, that you have to go for development, but be cautious, leave enough for your future generations. Don't over-exploit. So it's not necessary that you go and exploit and cut all the forest in Northeast. You have to be sustainable. But again, development can't be kept into margin. But a kind of balance needs to be made. And again, this is a major challenge in front of the development politics and the public policy makers. How to maintain this challenge, right? Times are, open-ended. They doesn't have one simple answer. Many times things are in gray area, right? And you can't have an exact answer. Where to go? Should you go towards development? Should you go towards environment? Both are important. So kind of combination is important. Cautiousness and reasonableness therefore becomes important. You have to be reasonable, you have to be cautious in your approach, right? Next point, right? Way forward, emphasis on Act East policy. Emphasis on Act East policy. One last point. Step-by-step approach is desirable. Step-by-step approach is desirable. Step-by-step approach means right from the grassroots, you have to go for conceptualization of this project. So, way forward could be that we should not only strictly reserve ourselves only with the highway development. We can go for step-by-step approach, means we can go for some kind of education development of that area. We can go for housing sector, we can go for health sector. Once you make people feel confident, like what she was saying, you have to make people feel that this project is not going to curb or obstruct your own interests. So a step-by-step approach needs to be taken up. It's not necessary that one fine morning you come up with the bulldozer and say we are going to have this project done. No. You have to first of all take people into confidence of that area. You have to go for some kind of maintenance of education system, some health system, social security system, and then when people confidence are there, then of course you can go for some kind of highway building or road building or whatever. So right, step-by-step approach is desirable in form of people-centric projects. In form of people-centric projects. In sectors like education, healthcare, skill development, tourism, cottage industries, etc. And a last point all. Last point is India and China needs to improve their bilateral relations, right? They need to have a fundamental change. They need to have a fundamental change in Indo-China bilateral relations, right? This is a challenge also, and this comes out to be a way forward also. In Indo-China bilateral relations, they need to have a fundamental change in Indo-China bilateral relations. So the challenge is that we don't trust China. The way forward is you have to develop a better relation. There is no way out. If you have entered into this where China is your partner, so the way forward has to be that you have to develop a better relation with them. With other two, we doesn't have much problem. With Myanmar, we are moving forward, of course. Bangladesh, we have the Sonali Adhyay, golden era we are enjoying. So only problematic factor is China. So way forward, you can write this. Now, this is my advice to you. Whenever you are writing, any question comes up on IR, by the end of our session, I'm sure you will be able then to write answers of your own, because things at times are very obvious, very systematic. It's like a thread. You have to pull and things will come out. The only thing that thing has to be there in your mind. So by the time we are done with this relation, many things for answer writing would be clear. Then you can write of your own also, many things, right? Few things are very common also. You can use. Okay? Hanji. This is the conclusion. Way forward is the conclusion. That depends upon the word limit. That I don't have to tell. That depends upon word. See, The UPSC answer writing is very different from the college answer writing. That is very different. There we ask our student to write 5 sides and they are like very sweet. They go for introduction, then body, then conclusion, and they're happy with that. But here in civils, we are not supposed to write that diet. We have to be very cautious in our word limit. That's why I said your answer has to include everything. Your answer have to include challenges. Your answer have to include the way forward. Your answer have to include the context also. Why this project is in news, why that question has come up for civils. So one line, of course, you can write, keeping into mind the recent instance of India opting out from this, or this BCIM project getting out of the BRF is the reason why this project became something like that. In the context you can write and then you can start your answer, right? So like that you need to write. Done? Next, come on. Next is, and we are dealing with the connectivity, don't forget. So next very important thing in connectivity. See, Indo-Bangladesh, the most important thing for this time mains has to be connectivity. That is why we are concentrating more on the connectivity aspect. Rest all the areas of cooperation are very simple and they are not that important contextually, right? So connectivity part therefore is very important. Next in the news was, this you must have read, Haldibari Chilahati rail route, which has been operational now. So why was it in news? It was in August 2021. Bangladesh and India started regular operation of free trains through restored Haldibari Chilahati rail route. It was almost after 50 years. Haldibari Chilahati rail route. This route has been made operational. And another thing which we have already read, that is Agartala Athaura rail line, which will connect, Agartala means Tripura, means adjoining part of Northeast, with Bangladesh, with rest of the East Asian countries, right? This is going to be completed likely in September in 2020. Right? So two things you need to remember. Next. लिख ले, लिख ले. You know, just for your general knowledge, after 1947, we had 7 rail routes which were operational between India and Bangladesh, right? We don't have to remember them. Abhi aage aayega. So after 1947, 7 rail routes almost were there till 1965. And after 1965, there were many rail routes which were being shut down. Right now, there are 5 operational rail routes which involves this route as well. So presently, we have 5 rail routes, 5 rail links which are functional. Right? And the latest entry is Haldibari Chinahati rail route. So we have 5 rail route operational between India and Bangladesh. Right importance now. What is the right? 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 So these are the rail routes which are functional. What you are asking is the Maitri Express, that is the name of the train which has been operational. I am talking about the rail routes. You are getting? Links. So there are 5 laid links. The most important entry is Haldibadi, the recent is Haldibadi Chinnahati. That you have to remember. So this few things you have to remember. Agartala Khaura, Haldibadi Chinnahati, that has been operational now. Next. Write significance. Very quickly. Significance. What would be the significance of this rail link? Let's look into this rail link first of all. This is Haldibadi Chilahati rail link. Now I'm asking you to write the importance because of some very important reason only. Just look at this situation. This is very near to the Siliguri corridor. I told you Siliguri corridor is strategically very important and we are finding way out for an alternative so that we don't rely only for the supply chains on this small stretch of 22 kilometers. So one, this Haldibadi Chilahati could be an excellent rail link in order to have an alternative connection, right? With, with West Bengal, and West Bengal, of course, there is this Haldibadi Chilahati Express and this is the Siliguri. So of course, there could be an alternative towards it for Siliguri, right? So write the first point. Keep looking in the map and then write. So you will be able to understand. And no need to even remember also. If you have this idea of the map, that where is this Haldibadi Chilahati situated? And the first point is, first of all, look at this and I'm saying, so just have an idea. This route is expected to enhance the connectivity to Assam and West Bengal from Bangladesh. This is West Bengal. So this will in any case increase the connectivity of West Bengal and Assam with Bangladesh. Getting the point? Somewhere very much near to West Bengal is that thing and here it is Assam. So that would of course involves a better connectivity of Assam and West Bengal with Bangladesh. West Bengal. लिखो पहले, लिख लो फिर. It is expected to enhance. It is expected to enhance the connectivity to Assam and West Bengal from Bangladesh. It is expected to enhance. What happened? This is Agartala Akhara. You can have it. You can see it. Right? And these are the names. This Benipole and Petropole. You don't have to remember everything. Just have an idea. Right? So these are 5 major rail links. So most important. This is going to be coming somewhere this year. This has already been operational now. 1965 ke pehle everything was operational. So it has been operational almost like 50 years after. Right? So right, first thing is that it will help in better connectivity to Assam and West Bengal through Bangladesh. So through Bangladesh, we could have a better accessibility to Assam also and with West Bengal also, right? So there you can have a better accessibility to West Bengal. This is the entire. And here if you are, you have a better accessibility with Assam also, right? Next point. It will enhance. Now this point is very important. Understand. It will enhance rail network access. It will enhance rail network access to main ports, in order to support the regional trade. In order to support the regional trade. you know, these kind of rail network will enhance the accessibility towards the main port. So we have the Kolkata main port here. If these kind of rail links are being made, this will enable a better accessibility towards these ports. By ports tak jane ke liye you have to have something to go to that port. So you have a one major port of Kolkata, which doesn't have the accessibility to go to that port. So first of all, you have to make a greater accessibility towards at least that port, then only trade would happen. So these kind of rail links are therefore very important for enabling a better connectivity to the main port. And once the accessibility, connectivity to main port happens, then trade will obviously augment. Right? You don't have to go through different terrain areas in order to go to that port. You have a well-established road. You have a well-established rail link. You can go and use that rail link. You can reach to that port and then you can go for any kind of trade activities. So therefore, this point also is very important. It will enhance a greater accessibility towards the main port. Right? Next point. Economic activities of both countries would increase. Economic activities, of course, the economic activities would increase. Now from Chilahati to Haldibadi, people can come up through train. Then they can trade. They can go for exchange of their goods. Right? So, greater accessibility means greater economic activity. Next point. These are just, see, these are the main links. These are the way in which these are being connected to the major port areas as well. Right? These are the links. This red one is the link. These are the links, right? These are the main rail links which are being established. These are the way through which these rail links get connected with other rail links as well or other major ports. So this is a very, a complicated kind of interconnection. These are the rail links. These are the way in which these rail links are connected with Kolkata. Then this is connected with Singapore. Then this is connected with Radhikapur, right? So they are also connected. This is the interstate, as in between the two countries, and this is within the country, right? Okay. Everything is connected. That's the best point. You need to have a connection with the port also, right? That is the reason why these rail links are being made, so as to enable a better connection with the ports as well. Another very important thing is regarding the Siliguri corridor, right? Last point, last significance. This would reduce our dependency. This would reduce our dependency on much strategic Siliguri corridor. On much strategic Siliguri corridor. So of course now you don't have to depend completely. If these things happen, then see, you don't have to completely depend upon that Siliguri corridor. You can have so many multiple ways in which trade and supplies could come up from one part to another. And even within India also you can have a better connectivity, right? So that is the significance of these kind of rail links. Clear? Next is another very important thing which came up in news, Maitri Setu, Friendship Bridge, right? Maitri Setu, inaugurated in March 2021. The best part of this Maitri Setu bridge is that it will connect the northeast Indian state of Tripura. Again, Tripura is at the epicenter of every activity I told you. Tripura is going to be a most important state for Bangladesh-Indo relation and Bangladesh. Maitri Setu, Friendship Bridge. Another very important point on Feni River. Feni River is a river shared between India and Bangladesh. Write significance. Right? This is Feni River, this is for your pre things. These things can come up. So you can always pick in things that what from this main thing, important things for pre can come up, right? So whenever you are studying something for mains, you can always find out. So UPSC is all about this. Therefore, we always say that you have to prepare for mains first and then for the prelims. Half of the thing is being done when you prepare seriously for your mains, right? So whenever you are getting across any new facts, you can always Google it and search it. That okay, the Feni River, then what about Feni River? You can go for a small box item for Feni River, right? Now write significance. Okay. Done. What will happen in mains? Huh? Write fast.
What is besides that importance of Haldiwari and Chilahati? There is one more
Agartala and Akhora.
so that is connecting Assam, Bangladesh and West Bengal. There is one more.
Haldiwadi Chilahati to hai. Okay, we'll go to it. We'll come to it. Okay? Once we are done with it, just tell me, and at the end of the class, just ask this thing to me. Done? भैया ये आगे क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? I actually wanted to show you the location of this Metru Setu and Feni River. आगे next slide में लाना था. चल नहीं रहा है ना मेरे आगे. चलें जब तक होता है, don't waste our time. We'll not waste the time. We'll write significance. First of all, write significance. Now you see, I said that this entire project, the epicenter is of course Tripura, right? So Tripura in this regard is now considered to be the gateway of Northeast. Somewhere write number 1. Tripura in this regard is considered as gateway of Northeast. this friendship bridge, or you can write Maitri Setu, आगे लिखो, Maitri Setu would provide a direct access for, it would provide a direct access for Tripura to the seaport of Chittagong. Chittagong is where? Bangladesh. So this Maitri Setu would provide a direct access for Tripura to the seaport of Chittagong. Bracket में लिख लो Bangladesh. And would enhance trade link between rest of India with Northeast, and also Northeast and Bangladesh. So you see, this Feni river is flowing between India and Bangladesh, right? This is, you know, so you can find that this is this Feni river, this is the Maitri Setu bridge, and this is the river, right? So bridge is between this is Indo-Bangla Maitri bridge, right? Now you see, this is very near to Chittagong, right? This bridge is going to be very near to Chittagong. Now this is going to be very near to all these northeastern state and of course Tripura, right? So this Maitri Setu actually is going to solve the purpose of making a better connection with Tripura, and it is making a direct link with Chittagong port of Bangladesh. Now this will involve therefore a better connection not only between Tripura or northeast states with Bangladesh, but also with northeast states with the Indian mainland as well. If you have one more port, extra bridge, of course that connectivity with the Indian mainland would also increase. So it will solve the dual purpose. So Tripura is at the epicenter, and it will solve the dual purpose of not only enhancing connectivity between northeastern state and Bangladesh, Chittagong and Tripura, but also within India, that is between northeast states and the mainland India, right? So this Maitri Setu is therefore going to have a dual purpose. And of course, it is called Friendship Bridge because there is this Feni river and we have tried to create a kind of bridge. And bridge, of course, means a kind of, a step forward towards your friendship. So only now I will behave like, no. Every day, every minute, you have to behave like a civil servant. You have to think like that. You have to sit like that. You have to sit like that. You have to speak like that. You have to look like that. Haji. ना फेनी रिवर बीच में चल रही है, उसके दोनों तरफ ब्रिज है, एक तरफ चित्तगोंग पोर्ट पास आ रहा है और एक तरफ त्रिपुरा है. हाँ, फरक्का डैम डिस्कस करने का कुछ है ही नहीं. रीजन बिकॉज वो फरक्का डैम का इशू ऑलरेडी सॉल्व हो चुका है. इट हैज बीन रिजॉल्व. So we will just go with a passing reference of Farakka barrage and nothing more to add on. We will now straightforward jump to Tista water agreement. And what is the analysis? What is conflictual federalism as far as this Tista water agreement is concerned? What is the major concern of West Bengal especially? Why it has not been made so far? What are the challenges? So we will be dealing with one nation, one river, two nation wala thing as far as Tista is concerned, right? Okay. Now I said this bridge has rightly been dubbed as the gateway of Northeast by both the governments. Gateway of Northeast, it has been said both by India as well as by Bangladesh. And there is a very strong reason for that. Why? Because it joins Sabroom in Tripura. Right? So you can find this is Sabroom. This is in Tripura. This is the bridge. It will join Sabroom in Tripura, northeast, with Ramgarh in Bangladesh. So it is joining it with Ramgarh. Ramgarh is somewhere here, this, right? And Ramgarh is merely 80 kilometers from Chittagong seaport. You're getting the point? Yes. So this bridge is going to join Sabroom in Tripura with Ramgarh in Bangladesh, and Ramgarh is very near to Chittagong seaport. This means there would be a better accessibility of Tripura with Chittagong seaport. And that was the agenda behind this Metro Setu project. So that a better connectivity is being made. They saw river flowing. They thought ki we can't, why can't we, use this flowing river, make a bridge, and this would also help us to save much of our time in traveling. So that could be the best part of this Metro Setu project, right? So in the importance, one point you have written this, that it would be a gateway and it will help join the Chittagong seaport with the Tripura. Second important point, right? The route will provide an alternative to, first of all, write then understand. The route will provide an alternative to the Sitwe Port Kalidan route. Sitwe Port Kalidan route. Right? Kaladan project. So this will provide an alternative to Kaladan project. How? Now you have to understand what is Kaladan project. Of course, anyways, and when we will be dealing with Myanmar, we'll go into it. But anyways, see, this is the project which will be linking through two ways. So this will be a sea route also, and this will be a land route. So from Kolkata, this project says it will link to Sitwe, right? And then it will go to Palchwa, and here it will be a highway, and then it will be Myanmar, right? And then, sorry, the Mizoram, right? So it will be a kind of connection through Bay of Bengal, through Myanmar, and then to the Mizoram, right? So this is one project which is operating, that we are using Myanmar land for greater connectivity within our own northeast states. The entire purpose again is the same thing. We want to reduce our over dependence on that small Siliguri corridor. So now India is making every possible step how to make a connection between the mainland India and the northeast India. So of course this was a very nice route. Through sea you can go, then you can ask Myanmar, you can have a deal with them. So we had a Kaladan agreement with them, and then through highway you can go and get it connected to Mizoram. Now what if this project somehow get derailed, right? So propensity is always there. You always have to go for an alternative. Therefore, we are going into an alternative called Metro Setu, a friendship bridge, right? So we are saying that we can go for Metro Setu, a kind of friendship bridge, somewhere here, right? It would be somewhere here where we can have a link between Tripura and Bangladesh over that Feni river. So you can have this thing, you can bypass, or you can have an alternative to this entire route. So this is the significance of Metro Setu, that we can go for an alternative. Clear? Okay. One last.
This one is currently operational, or is it still?
No, everything is. Why not? Kaladan. Yeah. Anji.
Indian state to Indian states connect there.
That is the purpose.
But Bangladesh
So with Bangladesh, we can have better connectivity with Tripura and also with better connectivity with the rest of the countries also, because with Bangladesh, then we can have different connectivity routes with Indian mainland also. With Bangladesh also have some kind of connectivity with Kolkata port also, no? So if you have a better connectivity of Bangladesh, Chittagong port with the Tripura state, and with Chittagong port you have a better connectivity with other parts of India, this means you are going to have a better connectivity with the rest of the India as well, right? So we are trying to have a very, every alternative way in which we can connect our northeast states, the seven sisters, with Indian mainland. So it could be this project, it could be Maitri Setu project, right? In this project, we are taking help of Myanmar, there we are taking help of Bangladesh. Okay? Just one more point, right? This is seen as a symbolic marker. Maitri Setu is seen as a symbolic marker for enhancement of our relations with Bangladesh. Our relations with Bangladesh. Next, this is also very important. Bangladesh has also shown interest in joining India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral project. So we have this India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral project. Bangladesh has also shown an interest. If this kind of project also in which Bangladesh gets included, then of course if Bangladesh get included, this means a greater connectivity with our seven sisters. So this is also very important aspect of connectivity collaboration, that Bangladesh have shown an interest. Things are still on pipeline, but if something like this happen, this is definitely going to have a better connectivity. The last point in connectivity is very contemporary, keeping into mind the COVID-19 situation. Oh. So that is the air travel bubble agreement. What is this air travel bubble agreement? When COVID-19 our flights, the proper commercial flights were being stopped, then some temporary arrangements were being made. So this is called the temporary air travel bubble agreements, right? And such agreement was being signed between India and Bangladesh also. So this is quite a temporary arrangement when commercial flights were being stopped. So through this kind of arrangement, some temporary kind of arrangements were being made for kind of transport or connectivity between the two countries, and for that a formal agreement is being signed. So India has signed similar agreement with other countries also, one with Bangladesh also. India, Myanmar, Thailand. So India is automatic a part of it, no? Means India is already a part of this project. So if it is part of this project, this means better connectivity with Myanmar and Thailand, with the East Asian economies. These are the emerging economies. And if Bangladesh also joins, then it is good for them only, but it is also good for our northeast states. How? Because of the close proximity with Bangladesh. तो और ज्यादा हो जाएगा. It is always better to have multiple levels of connectivity. So if Bangladesh is also entering, it will have its own collaboration with other northeast states who might be the part of this, who might not be the part of it, right? So it's always better to have greater nations involved, better connectivity at multilateral level. Huh? No, right now it's not. This is the IMT project, India, Myanmar, Thailand project. But if Bangladesh joins, that is definitely going to be a good boost for India as well, right? So this is all as far as the connectivity cooperation is concerned. So quite elaborately we have discussed, and this was the only area where which was worth of discussion also. apart from few irritants, which of course is the Tista Water Agreement and all. Rest, all the things are very, that's not much in news, so we won't be going into deep analysis of that. Next is, of course, the defense cooperation. Defense cooperation, just write the names like this only. Exercise Sampriti is a joint exercise of army. And exercise Milan is a joint exercise between Indo-Bangladesh naval forces. That's it. Right? Joint exercise of army is called exercise Sampriti. Joint exercise of navy is called exercise Milan. Not much is in news regarding defense cooperation, so we'll move forward. Next is the economic relations or economic cooperation. Bangladesh is India's biggest trade partner in South Asia. Next is economic cooperation. So Bangladesh is the India's biggest trade partner in South Asia. 2020-21, it emerged at India's top 5 export destinations. These are the top partners, export partners of India as of 2020-21. Number 1 is US, China, UAE, Hong Kong, and last is, as in the 5th place, Bangladesh has taken up. This is a huge credit thing for Bangladesh, right? So it has emerged as a top 5 export destinations in 2020-21. So in next point, in 2021, we have this SAFTA. 2011, we have this SAFTA, that is South Asian Free Trade Agreement area. South Asian Free Trade Area or Agreement, SAFTA. And this involves duty-free and quota-free trade. Duty-free or quota-free trade. Right? So this has also helped in a better economic cooperation between India and Bangladesh. Not much is there in the news as far as economic cooperation is concerned, so we'll move forward to the hydropolitical relation, and that is important. Right, next, hydropolitical relation. Hydro means water. How water becomes a very important part of politics. As far as domestic politics in India is concerned, as far as international politics between India and Bangladesh is concerned. You know, Bangladesh has in its credit some very important thing. It has in its credit of sharing the longest boundary with India. It has the credit of sharing largest number of rivers also with India. 54 common rivers are there between small and large between India and Bangladesh. Imagine 54. More the areas of confluence, more the areas of conflict. Right? So, you know, 50 years of hydropolitical relation has been a relation of both, you know, sweet as well as sour relation. It has seen its own seesaw in the relationship. And one of the most important thing, right from the beginning we will talk about, one important thing as far as the hydropolitical relation is concerned would be the Maitri Setu project that we have already discussed, right? Another is the Farakka Barrage project. That was one of the most contentious project Indo-Bangladesh relation. This barrage was made on river Ganga. 1951, this project was initiated. The main aim was to flush, silt out of the Kolkata port in order to make it more operational. In the ports, you have to flush out the silt, right? Then only, the ships can be harbored more safely. So therefore, you wanted to have this kind of system. So actually, this barrage was aimed to flush out the silt of Bhagirathi Hooghly River so that Kolkata silt, S-I-L-T. Silt means the deposit, the river deposit. I told you, no, it's in the downstream area. Of course, river is going to have a huge amount of accumulation. So you have to flush the silt out. For that, you made this Farakka barrage. Now, what was Bangladesh argument? Bangladesh said this is an international river. Ganga is a transboundary river. It has to be an international river. And since this has to be an international river, therefore, anything on this river has to be through a mutual agreement. And on this point, Indo-Bangladesh were at, loggerheads. So, this Ganga Water Treaty was signed in 1996. And it was being said that, there would be some kind of sharing as far as the surface water at Farakka barrage is concerned, and issue is now being resolved. See, on river Ganga, we have this river Ganga between both India and Bangladesh. We have this Kolkata port. We have this Hooghly Bhagirathi, entire basin. And we have huge amount of silt which was being deposited, and we wanted to flush out this extra silt. That is why we wanted to have this barrage there. So we built this barrage. Now what happened? Bangladesh said, then you are obstructing our water, right? This is the same problem with Tista also. Because Bangladesh is saying that you are obstructing the flow of river, and the thing is that the area, adjoining Bangladesh as well as West Bengal, the climate is somewhat same. So they go for cultivation of boro rice, and that boro rice needs a lot of water. In fact, standing water they want. That is why both the countries have this common problem that we want water. That too, not on different season, at the same season. Had it been some kind of arrangement wherein you need water in this season and we need water on that season, we could have made a mutual arrangement that, okay, fine, we will open the dam, you can take the water, we will close the dam, now we'll take the water. But now the thing is, we want water at the same time, at the same months, right? That is the problem. So as far as Farakka barrage is concerned, Bangladesh said back, this is an international river. Any such kind of agreement needs our ratification also. Therefore, India said, okay, fine, we will have a Ganga River Treaty, 1996, wherein it was said that Farakka barrage water would be shared, and therefore the issue is resolved. Therefore, no need to ponder much upon it. It has been resolved. It will not come. That was just for your general knowledge, I said. See, I personally believe, if you have an overall knowledge of things, you can put that thing in your answer, you can put that thing in your interview, more so that increases your confidence level. So when your confidence level get increased, that okay, fine, you know many things about Indo-Bangladesh now, that would definitely have an impact while you write your answer as well. So that confidence building measure is what is under this, was agenda of this Farakka barrage thing, nothing more than that. Let's move forward quickly. Kind of obstruction when you obstruct the river water. Small dam, kind of that. Just 5 more minutes because we started the class late, so we have to be in time. Okay. हाँ जी, लिख नहीं पाए. लिख लो. Okay, so today we will just be dealing with the Tista water and the implications. Then we'll deal tomorrow. I believe after Tista, nothing much is left as far as the cooperation thing is concerned, and we'll come up with the challenges, key challenges, and way forward. And we will try hard to at least start with the Indo-Sri Lanka relations, right? Huh? Feel IR is one of the most interesting thing, huh? And never get burdened, as I said that day also, never get burdened with the things. Always say that today I have gained this much of knowledge, tomorrow I will gain more than this, day after I will gain more than this, right? That would also increase your, and that will reduce your pressure. Most important thing, whenever you are writing on a serious note, whenever you are preparing, never get into any kind of pressure that you have to complete this, you have to complete that. Just consider that this is an excellent process in which you are gaining lot of knowledge, right? And if this thing keeps on going, you will be able to accumulate good things in your mind, right? So just keep the pressure thing out, and be in a this way. That would also help in enabling for your personality development. That this is also very good. Never get into this kind of pressure, because after all, the service in which you are going to enter, that would involve lots of pressure. So you have to make your mind like this, that you are not going to take pressure much, and you are going to sustain this thing. So keep sustaining. So next point is, Tista water dispute. Why was it in news? See, in the beginning I told you March 2021 Prime Minister Modi went to Bangladesh. And he made a kind of promise to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina that very soon we are going to have a deal over Tista water, and that would come to an end. This dispute would come to an end. And therefore, Tista water deal again came into news, right? Anyhow, this is one of the most irritant or one of the most prime challenge between India and Bangladesh. Okay. So, Tista water, this Tista river, this originates in Sikkim. You can see, right? It originates in Sikkim, flows through West Bengal, and then to Bangladesh. So this is the trajectory of this Tista river. Okay. Now, as far as India is concerned, India is claiming 55% of the share. First of all, just this is a normal thing in its context, that on the 2 days tour to Bangladesh in March 2021, Prime Minister said that we will definitely going to have a common deal on other rivers, including Tista, right? Now, this is a time frame. We'll again come to this. This is just a time frame that how Tista water agreement, the entire thing came up. Okay, why Tista is important, that is also very important. There was a report which said that, this is just for your knowledge, because it's so minute things. If you can learn, this is always good. If you can't learn, then also it's fine. The floodplains cover almost 14% of total cropped area and provide livelihood opportunity to 73% of population. This first is the catchment area of Tista in Bangladesh, right? And it is providing, though this is the cropped area. 14% is the cropped area, and it is providing livelihood opportunity to almost 75%. That is why Tista is very important for Bangladesh. So both for the total cropped area as well as for livelihood opportunity, Tista is important. Somewhere you can write that why Tista is important. Because of the total cropped area, this is almost 14%. And it provides livelihood opportunity to almost 75%. So huge amount of people are dependent upon Tista. That is why for Bangladesh, Tista is very important. Livelihood opportunities depend upon Tista. Now, why it is important for India? So it is the lifeline of North Bengal. Right? So it is lifeline of North Bengal, and many of the West Bengal districts are dependent upon Tista. So you can see lifeline of North Bengal. Okay. So that is why Tista is important both for Bangladesh as well as India. 14% of the cropped area. This reverse plain covers almost 14% of total cropped area. Imagine, total crop area ka 14% is from this Tista river. And 75% people's livelihood is depending, because livelihood, see, is not only about agriculture. Livelihood is also about fishery. From river, you can also go for that thing. No? So many other activity, allied activities are also linked with river. So 75% population is dependent upon it. So the stake for both India as well as Bangladesh is very strong over Tista. And West Bengal is one of the most politically active state in India, apart from Uttar Pradesh. Apart from few south states like Tamil Nadu. These are certain states which have affected foreign policy of India. West Bengal, Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu we will discuss Indo-Sri Lanka relation. West Bengal comes up in Indo-Bangladesh relation. You're getting the point. So domestic politics is playing a very important role. That too when you have a government of, coalition government is going on. At that time I am saying, not today. So that is why today Prime Minister Modi is very confident that yes, we will go with such kind of deal, and he might come also, because now they are in absolute majority. But imagine a place when the Trinamool Congress is there in coalition and they don't want this kind of agreement to happen. So definitely coalition politics do affect foreign policy, and this is a fantastic example. This is also a very nice example of conflictual federalism. That also we do. Just write this thing. The timeline will come. 1972, there was this Joint River Commission. Just highlight, you can write 1972, there was this Joint River Commission. In 1983, an ad hoc arrangement was being made. Ad hoc arrangement, temporary arrangement. 1983, an ad hoc arrangement was being made. And it was said that India would be given 39%. India would get the share of 39%. Bangladesh would get 36%. Water, right? So, 1983, an agreement on ad hoc sharing of Tista water was being made. Rest remain unallocated. 25% got unallocated, right? See, because India is claiming almost 55%. Bangladesh is not willing to give 55%. So it was 39 and 36 and rest 25 got unallocated. And 2011, an interim deal was supposed to be made. 2011, supposed to be made, it never happened, right? And it was being said that India would get 42, almost 42%, Bangladesh would get almost 37%. So that is all the history part. We'll just move forward, and the analysis part we'll do tomorrow. Next second.
Fertile land of Bangladesh lies within Tista.
So 2011, a deal was supposed to be made, but this deal never happened because West Bengal opposed this thing. West Bengal said no, nothing less than 55% we will go, right? And this deal was giving, 42.5% to India. So we were getting at loss. So this deal, Mamata Banerjee opposed this deal. It was being shelved. It was unsigned. In fact, it was being said that she would accompany Prime Minister Manmohan Singh for that deal, but she never accompanied. So anyways, this deal was not signed because she didn't want the deal to be signed. That's why she didn't win also. She said, we are not going, right? Now you see, just an analysis part and we'll done. Just listen. Now it must be wondering that why Bangladesh views are being taken. That might come to your mind. Center government can go for such kind of deal. So tell me, why do you think West Bengal views are very important and West Bengal views are taken? Because water is a state subject. Since water is a state subject, anything pertaining to water needs some kind of consent of the concerned state. And therein comes the concept of conflictual federalism, wherein there is conflict between center and state as far as the state lists are concerned, precisely water. That international treaties and all. See, there is not that. See, they say that Indian unilaterally center can go for changing the names of the boundary. If you go into that, unilaterally you can go for changing the names. Unilaterally you can go for incorporation of any new territory or getting out of the new territory. But it's not specifically mentioned that as far as the water thing is concerned, you can go for some specific treaty, right? So treaty, you can go for it. International treaties, of course, you can make. But as far as the water thing is concerned, and that is the missing link. So as far as the water thing is concerned, and since water comes under the state subject, so water sharing, you of course needs the view, the ratification of that concerned state as well. And that is the reason this is a fantastic example of how within the federal units comes into conflict. Okay, and how then it affects our foreign policy, right? So tomorrow we shall be discussing this Tista water, and then would only be, then not much is left actually. We will go straight forward to the challenges then. Challenges and way forward. Okay, thank you so much.